And quarter number 2, Melo. Let's talk about your boy. This man has some of the best basketball shoes in the NBA. Kyrie Irving, what's up with him in the media? We dabbled on this last week. He came out and said, technically you and I are part of the media. Mm-hmm. He said we're pawns. He said we are pawns. And he doesn't need to talk to us.
I take this so offensively when, the media gets bashed. And I feel like this past, 2020, everyone out there, I don't care what your views are, the media has taken the biggest beating of this, worse than people getting COVID. I feel like the media has taken the worst beating this year. And it's just not fair because the media now has got it. I'm going into a tangent here, not even talking about sports. The media now has come between people considering Twitter fingers media, or Instagram models, or whatever they are doing on IG media. And that's not media. Media is your reporters, your people who are actually out there, trying to find out what the right news is. Not just reporting whatever's first, actually going through investigating. It's a very touchy subject for me, so I don't want to get too much into it. But, and Kyrie's one of them that he just doesn't want to get asked the tough questions. What his issue is he says something like the whole LeBron James. Well, he didn't say LeBron James. He said the whole player thing, that he trusts KD now more than any other player he's played with. And then when people want to be like, oh, are you talking about LeBron James? He doesn't want to answer those tough questions. And that's what the biggest issue is. He doesn't want to answer the tough questions because, you know what? Unfortunately, Kyrie hasn't done anything without LeBron. He's looked really bad in Boston. And last year as well. Hopefully this year he can change it around. And maybe after that, he'll be better. Because Shaq was one of those as well that towards the end of his career, he didn't want to be answering nothing to the media. He was all like, okay, I'll take the fine. And you know what? I'm going to go home. So, I don't know. I know you have a different perspective.
Kyrie, you need to shut up. I'm just kidding. Sorry, I just love that shut up and dribble comment. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Kyrie, dude, listen, I don't think you're a superstar. I don't think you're that great. I think you're an amazing and one player. I think you're a great basketball player, but I might put you up there with that Chris Middleton. I'm just kidding, not Chris Middleton. He's not the number one guy. He's definitely a number 2 guy. But that's just because what he says, why I have my situation with Kyrie. I think he's a number 2 guy, not a number 1 guy. The point about Kyrie Irving that's going on right now is he's just so everywhere. He's so trying to prove one point, but then trying to prove another one, and then making himself look wrong by proving one point. And I think he confuses himself because I see where his heart's at. I see what he tries to say, but he doesn't articulate himself correctly. And it's primarily his fault. He needs to. He has people for this. He needs people who needs to tell him what to say, but he just goes out with his heart. And I feel he wears his heart on his sleeve and he just goes with it. He says, he clarified recently, he said he wasn't referring to the media as pawns. He was just referring to wanting to protect his voice and his platform. He doesn't want us to flip around what he says. But Kyrie, you are saying these things where it's blatantly and easy to see what you're trying to say. It's not, we're not making these things up. You are saying these things, and even someone like me, who I'm not some 30-year Skip Bayless journalist, can read into what you're saying. I understand what you're trying to say, and it kind of, dude, makes no sense because now you're out here saying that you just want to put out your word and you don't want any distractions and you just want to put your team first. This isn't a distraction. If you would have said that from the beginning, that would have been golden. If you would have said, look, I really don't want to speak to the media today. I kind of wish I just want to put my team first. That would have been a completely different narrative. We're like, okay, we'll see where his head's at. But you come out with trying to be Drake or trying to be all these things, giving us some, like, just some curves and writing whatever you want to write. It's so confusing. And Drake might not be a good example, but I don't understand what he's trying to do.
Drake was definitely not a good example.
It's the coquito, bro.
But I get what you're saying. Kyrie, man, just... I don't know if maybe he's just not elaborating on what it is because...
Está frustrado. He's frustrated. My man is frustrated.
Then we have like he thinks the world is flat.
He corrected himself too recently.
But I'm saying then you said he corrected. So it's all about, elaborating yourself, Kyrie.
But even then I knew what he was trying to say. He was trying to do the whole Kanye West thing where he doesn't want to be told to believe something, And I totally understand that. Kanye has that mentality where he doesn't want to be a Democrat because they're telling him to be a Democrat. And as us, minorities, they tell us, oh, we should be Democrats depend on the government to depend on the government to help us. And he feels, why should that be my only mentality? Like, he wants to think both ways, and I respect that about Kanye, being open-minded. And I think that's what Kyrie tries to do, but he does it in the most outlandish way possible by saying the Earth is flat. Dude, that is science. Like, that's not even some. Kanye West does it in Kanye. The way Kanye West tried to do it made sense. You know, Democrats, Republican. It just happens to be that politics is so controversial that it was bigger. The thing with Kyrie is that he's proving a point with something dumb. So, besides that, let's move on to the actual star of that team. But unfortunately, he's not going to be the star because Kyrie's going to want to be the number one guy.
Not gonna want.
What are the expectations on KD? Coming back from his Achilles injury, for those who don't know, Kevin Durant hasn't played for like almost a year and a half now.
I think it's at 500 something days.
Yes, and at the time he was arguably the best player in the planet when he got hurt. So we finally have that star caliber player back, but in a new team, no longer in the Warriors. What are your expectations? Should they be high? Is it championship or bust? What's going on?
I absolutely think it's at least getting to the finals or bust. If you don't get there, you got to do something. You're gonna get rid of what is it, Dinwiddie? Somebody. You got to get rid of somebody.
Oh, we're blaming Dinwiddie. Let's go with Dinwiddie. Trade Kyrie for Harden now. I don't understand what they're waiting for.
No way, you can't do that.
I would. I don't give up.
See, this is why I don't think they're gonna have. This is why I don't think they're gonna have an issue. They are best friends. It's not like
so we're Harden and Westbrook.
Nah, I don't think
they were best friends. They grew up together. They played AAU ball. They knew each other since they were 10 or 12. All of a sudden now they don't want to be in the same team anymore.
That's like saying that Melo and LeBron James are best friends. Maybe they know better. Melo and LeBron knew, hey, you know what?
They're not. Kyrie wants to be the guy. He's gonna want. That's why he said it's about time I have a guy who could take the last shot like me. So you're gonna be the one to control. You're the one controlling the narrative. It's gonna be your shot, and just in case, I'll give it to KD. No. KD. No. KD is the one who's gonna handle the ball.
He with his statement, it was very clear that he is okay deferring to Kevin Durant.
But the fact that he says it's okay. What do you mean it's okay? You're different. It's KD's team. KD runs the ball, and it's okay that KD wants to give you the ball. Not it's okay. I'll defer. What do you mean you'll defer?
Yeah, because in Boston it was all him. It was all him.
If anything, they played better without Kyrie Irving.
Okay, but when he was out there, it was almost like this Odell Beckham situation where everything was so centered around Kyrie. With this, he doesn't have to worry about that.
Kyrie doesn't know how to play with teammates.
KD is gonna be there, and he's gonna take off so much.
Kyrie, you know what it is? You know what? Here's where it stems from. Kyrie cannot be the number one guy. That's his problem. That's the issue, and I think I didn't articulate in the beginning.
I will give that to you.
That was my Kyrie moment right there. I should have said from the beginning, Kyrie is not a number one guy. If he accepts the number two role, and KD is the guy, and KD comes back, I will say right now they'll make it to the championship. They might even compete with the Heat. It's going to be tough because we do have Bam, and I don't know who's going to stop Bam because KD won't be able to handle him. So it'll be interesting, but Kyrie cannot be the guy, and if he puts down KD, it's going to be a problem.
The Nets have a gentleman that's 7 feet tall called Jared Allen, I believe. He can stop Bam, unfortunately.
That's a good point. I forgot about him. Hopefully they don't trade him.